What happened to EA? They went from being the most loved company to being the worst voted company in America 2 years in a row. From using microtransactions, evil tactics and manipulation. Today I'll be explaining why EA is the worst gaming company to exist. Let's begin. It was 1982 when Trip Hawkins started the company. He saw games as art, that's why the company was called Electronic Arts. At the time EA was a small company only making a couple of good games. The Light and the Dark. Axe, Assassin. Hard Harmac. All these games perform good and were innovations compared to the last game. That's why in all of EA's old commercials they said at the end, "We see further." In 1980 Trip Hawkins was interested in sports games, especially American football. So in the late 1990s he created a whole new way of looking at sports games at the time. The game was Madden and it blew up overnight. So thanks to the game a lot of investors wanted to invest in EA to make them the best sports gaming company in the world. One of these investors was Larry Probst. Larry Probst had a different vision for EA. He wanted profits. Unlike Trip Hawkins, who enjoyed making fun games that people will love. After 1991 Trip Hawkins left the company to Larry Probst as the new CEO. When Trip Hawkins left there was no one to defend what EA means. As soon as he left Larry Probst promoted another corporate executive to help run the company. His name is John Riccitiello. Both of them made the EA we know today. Now since we know how EA became the worst company, let's go into the second part of the video. Why everybody hates EA. But first, before I continue, please click the like and subscribe button to help out and don't forget to leave a comment. Now let's go to the second part of the video. The reason so many people hate EA is because they do two evil practices. Number 1, they buy out small studios and kill them. They did this to hundreds of studios. Orion Systems, Bullfrog, Pandemic Studios and many more fell because of EA. Gamers were horrified to see their favorite games from small studios being ruined and shut down by EA. Because of this EA was rated one of the worst companies in America 2 years in a row. This was one of the biggest reasons why EA was hated by many. The main reason EA does this is to remove small studios that might overthrow them, and to take the studio's profit if the next game they make performs good. For example, The Sims was made by a company called Maxis, and EA bought the company before they released the game, and when the game was made, it became one of the best simulator game, and EA presented themselves as the publisher, which gave them more recognition than the company that made the game. Because of that EA took almost all the profit. Now it's time for the second reason why EA is hated so much is microtransactions. The definition of microtransaction is a very small financial transaction conducted online. And EA likes putting microtransaction in almost every game. Famous example is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Which had loot boxes that were compared to gambling, because in those loot boxes, you could receive almost anything, which is almost the same as a roulette table just promoted to kids, and the main problem is if the loot boxes are randomized there was a chance you could get what you want or not, and that caused a major problem for people who bought the loot boxes or played the game for long hours. So to get the best items you had to buy these loot boxes with real money because in the game you could only collect limited amounts of loot boxes. You are not even guaranteed the item. Which by many countries were seen as gambling. And it's not only Star Wars Battlefront 2. EA did this for almost all their games. The reason EA added microtransactions is not really clear. But it stands from the main problem that gaming companies have to make a lot of money so that investors are happy. EA received massive backlash and complaints because of microtransactions. The greatest example is a game that was released by EA which was free, but had so many microtransactions that many countries considered as the same as if you had to pay to get the game. But they still made profits. Another reason why everybody hates EA is because almost all the new titles are worse than the last. I mean, just look at Madden. Every new Madden game released was worse than the last one. The graphics were worse, and the only thing EA changed was the starting lineup. At some point there was nothing new added to the game, but yet even though a lot of people hated Madden filled and complained about it a lot, they still made millions because there was no other company that made football games because EA made a contract with NFL that only EA can use teams from NFL. So no other company made football games. If you wanted to play a football game you had to buy from EA. Another example, FIFA. The most loved soccer game. But ever since FIFA 19 the games after were worse than the last. You had to open packs to get new players. What you needed to get a good player had to open a lot of packs, and to get more packs you needed to pay. And because of this a lot of teenagers used the mom's credit card to buy these packs. And you guys know what that leads to. EA received more backlash because of this, but they didn't care because they were still making lots of money from it. This is the greatest example of a company that started out with good intentions and became a company that only wanted profits. From destroying small studios to adding microtransactions and manipulation tactics, EA has done it all. What can I say?